frictionless piston. The piston which is there does not produce any friction. So you are allowing the gas to expand in vacuum where the pressure is zero. We call it as free expansion. The total heat content which is there in the system, we call it as enthalpy. It depends on the size of the system as well as the composition of the system. So heat capacity at constant volume, we call it as CV. Constant pressure, we call it as CP. Hello my dear students, welcome back to the third session on the chapter Thermodynamics. Last class we studied about the types of thermodynamic processes and also change in internal energy of the system, and we also learnt about the first law of thermodynamics, isn't it? Today we learn the applications of first law of thermodynamics. That is, first one is the mechanical work or the pressure volume work we need to understand. Now what exactly is this? Now here, to understand what is the pressure volume work, we take a cylinder, okay? We'll consider a cylinder in which we have taken some gas. Okay, so let us consider the cylinder which contains 1 mole of an which gas? Ideal gas, which is fitted with frictionless piston. The piston which is there does not produce any friction. So we are considering a cylinder which contains what? And 1 mole of an ideal gas with the piston which is frictionless. Now the total volume of the gas initially, let it be Vi, and the pressure of the gas inside be P. So here I have this cylinder, the initial volume is Vi and the pressure is just P. Okay. Now the piston, some more external pressure is applied. So the external pressure which is applied is more than the pressure of the gas which is inside. So what happens when the pressure is applied, the piston will start moving, okay, according to how much pressure, external pressure is added. So when the gas is getting compressed, correct, no? The pressure is applied, what is happening? The gas is getting compressed and the volume will change from Vi to Vf. So Vi is the volume at the initial state, Vf is the volume at the final state. And the length which it has moved, let us consider it to be L. Okay, that is the distance moved by the piston. So I hope you have understood the particular experiment. Okay, here the work is done on the system because we are putting pressure and the work is done on the system. Okay, now if we see the volume change, that is length into area, A is the area of cross section of this particular cylinder. So what is this? Area of cross section is A. Okay, so volume change is L into A, or I can tell change in volume is delta V, which I can also write it as the final volume minus the initial volume. Correct, no? Volume in the final state minus the volume in the initial state is change in volume, which is nothing but length into area. The length, the distance what it's moved, and the area of cross section. Next is force on the piston. What is pressure? Pressure is force by area. Correct, no? So what is force? Force is pressure into area. So the pressure applied is P external, which we have written as Pex, into area of cross section. Correct? So this is the force on the piston. Now, if W is the work done on the system by the movement of the piston, then I can write work is equal to force into distance. Because work is done by what? By moving the piston. So what is work? Work is force applied by the piston or force on the piston. So I can also write it as work is equal to force into distance moved by the piston. Okay. So what is force? Force is P external into area. Correct? So P external into area, distance moved is L. What is AL? AL is change in volume. So I can write P external minus delta V. Now why we have put this minus, I will explain. Okay. So force external into delta V. Minus sign has come outside. So P external into delta V. So what is delta V? V final minus V initial. Okay. So that's about the work done on the system. Now why have I put this negative sign? Here there is no negative sign, ma'am. Why suddenly you have put the negative sign? See, the volume, if you observe, the initial volume is larger and the final volume is smaller. So what happens when I take Vf minus Vi, I will get a negative value. But when the work is done on the system by convention, what should be the sign? It should be a positive value. Thus, if we put a negative value and delta V, when we get one more negative value, minus into minus, I'll get a positive value, and work done on the system, I will get positive itself. Isn't it? That's the reason we have put a negative sign. Okay. I hope you have understood about the mechanical work, that is the pressure volume work. Okay. So the same thing is explained. The negative sign of this expression is required to obtain the conventional sign for work, which is positive, because it is work done on the system. As the final volume is smaller than the initial volume, you will get a negative sign. Thus, if you put one more negative sign earlier itself, minus into minus, you will get a positive value, and work done, you will get a positive value. That's why we are putting the value, or the formula is minus P delta V. Okay. Next is, what is free expansion? Expansion of the gas in vacuum is called as free expansion. So you are allowing the gas to expand in vacuum where the pressure is zero. We call it as free expansion. No work is done during the free expansion of an ideal gas, whether the process is reversible or irreversible. So if you are taking an ideal gas and leaving it in vacuum to expand, there is no work done at all. The process can be reversible or it can be irreversible. Okay. So that's about the pressure volume work. Next we learned the first law of thermodynamics, correct? And the mathematical form is delta U is equal to Q plus W, which I explained to you all in the last class. Now this particular formula can be written in different ways depending on what is the process which is occurring. So if we take the mechanical work or the pressure volume work which is done, then the work done is equal to minus P delta V. And if I substitute that in the same formula, I'll get delta U is equal to Q minus P delta V. This is one form of the equation depending on the process. Next, if it is for isochoric process means volume is kept zero. So when volume is kept zero, the pressure also will become zero. So delta U will be equal to Q. Next is for isothermal and free expansion. I told you free expansion means pressure is zero. When pressure is zero, then the P into delta V also becomes 0. And as also told, there is no heat exchange which is happening because isothermal process and free expansion, even Q is equal to 0. So ultimately internal energy also will be equal to 0. If it is an adiabatic process, no heat exchange, so this is equal to 0. Delta U will be equal to work adiabatic. Now if it is isothermal irreversible process. For isothermal irreversible process, delta U is equal to 0. So what will happen is, see, delta U is equal to Q plus W. So delta U is 0. So I can write the formula as Q is equal to minus W. Correct? And what is work done? See, it is isothermal irreversible process. Work done, I can write it as P external Vf minus Vi. Correct, no? Why? Minus sign is not written. Minus to minus it would have become plus. That's why we are writing it directly. Now, for isothermal reversible process, see here, this is irreversible, this is reversible. Here also delta U is equal to 0. So I can write Q is equal to minus W, and work done for reversible process is nRT ln Vf minus Vi. What is it? nRT ln Vf minus Vi. N ln, that is the natural logarithm. I have to convert into log base 10. It is 2.303 RT log Vf by Vi. Okay, or I can also write it as W is equal to minus 2.303 RT log P1 by P2, or I can also write it as W is equal to minus 2.303 nRT log of Vf minus Vi. Okay, this is for isothermal reversible process. You need to know all of these forms so that if they ask you the numericals, you are supposed to solve. Okay, so that's about the different forms of writing the first law of thermodynamics. Next is enthalpy. What is enthalpy? Enthalpy is defined as the total heat content of the system, and it is measured by the sum of internal energy and pressure into volume, and it is denoted with the letter H. So what is enthalpy? The total heat content which is there in the system, we call it as enthalpy, which is nothing but internal energy plus pressure into volume. Okay, enthalpy depends on quantity of the substance and on the state of the system. So what it depends on? It depends on how much is the quantity. Enthalpy will change when the quantity will change. So it is an extensive property, and also it depends on the state of the system, because here we are multiplying the pressure and volume and then adding up, isn't it? So it is dependent on both the amount of substance as well as the state of the system. Hence, it is a state function and it is an extensive property. Okay, change in enthalpy, how I can write? It is nothing but change in internal energy plus pressure into change in volume. Okay, using the ideal gas law, according to the ideal equation, PV is equal to nRT. So what we can do is this PV again we can substitute with nRT, that is P delta V is equal to delta nRT. Okay, where R is a gas constant. What is this delta Ng? It is the number of moles of gaseous product minus the number of moles of the gaseous reactants. So what is it? Delta Ng is number of moles of gaseous products. Okay, it's only gaseous products minus the number of moles of gaseous reactants. So we can write this formula, delta H is equal to delta U plus delta Ng RT, or one more form is delta H is equal to delta U plus P delta V. Why these two forms? Because P delta V is equal to delta N RT. Okay, so this is the formula for calculation of the enthalpy which you need to remember. Next, there are some, as the process is different, again the enthalpy can change. So there are some notes which you need to remember. See, for solid and liquids, the term pressure and volume are negligible. For gases, pressure and volume is very important. But when it comes to solids, applying pressure, will the volume change? No, because they are already compressed, they are already rigidly packed, isn't it? Same thing with the liquids also. It is negligible. Even if there is a small change, we can neglect that. Thus, enthalpy will be equal to the internal energy for solids and liquids. In a chemical reaction, the change in enthalpy is given as enthalpy of the products minus the enthalpy of the reactants. This is for chemical reaction, not physical processes. It is for chemical reaction. Change in enthalpy is what? Enthalpy of the products minus the enthalpy of the reactants. Now, if the elemental state is there, okay, if any elemental state, its enthalpy is considered to be 0 in its standard state. Okay. Also, delta H is equal to the heat absorbed by the system at what condition? At constant pressure. So, if the pressure is constant, enthalpy is equal to the heat absorbed by the system. So, delta H can be negative for an exothermic reaction. Heat is liberated, then delta H is negative. What is it? Delta H is negative for exothermic reaction where heat is liberated, and delta H is positive for endothermic reaction. Endothermic reaction means heat is absorbed. Okay. So, this is the sign conventions which is very important when it comes to the chemical reaction. When I tell the reaction is exothermic, heat is liberated, thus delta H will be negative. When I tell the enthalpy or the heat is absorbed by the system or in the reaction heat is required, then delta H should be positive because it's an endothermic reaction. Okay. At constant volume, delta U is equal to Q. Therefore, the above equation becomes delta H is equal to delta U, which is equal to the heat of the system. Okay. So, these are some important points which you need to remember about enthalpy. Next is about the heat capacity. As I told y'all, when there is the heat is being exchanged from the system to the surrounding or from the surrounding to the system, you will understand that there is heat which is getting exchanged by the change in temperature. So, I can tell that Q is directly proportional to change in temperature. If I remove the proportionality, I'll put a constant called as C, that is Q is equal to C delta T. The increase in temperature is proportional to the heat transfer to the system. Thus, Q is equal to C delta T, where Q is heat, delta T is temperature, and C is called as the heat capacity. What is it? It's called as the heat capacity. Now, the heat capacity depends on the nature, okay, of the system. It depends on the size of the system as well as the composition of the system. Okay. So, heat capacity is again of two types I can explain. Molar heat capacity of the system, Cm we write it as. So, it is defined as the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 mole of a substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. So, I take 1 mole of the substance, I heat it, and the temperature should increase by 1 degree Celsius. So, the amount of heat required is called as the molar heat capacity. So, what is it? It is defined as the quantity of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 mole of the substance by 1 degree Celsius is called as the molar heat capacity of a substance. Next is the specific heat capacity. Now, what is specific heat capacity? It is defined as the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 unit mass of a substance by 1 degree Celsius. So, here I have to take 1 mole, here I have to take 1 unit mass. I can take 1 gram or 1 unit mass of a substance I have to take, how much heat is required to raise the temperature by 1 degree Celsius for 1 unit mass of a substance. That is called as the specific heat capacity, and it is given as Q is equal to C M into delta T. M is the mass of the substance. Okay. Next is relationship between Cp and Cv for an ideal gas. Okay. Now what is this Cp and Cv? See, the constant volume heat capacity is denoted as Cv. At constant pressure heat capacity is denoted as Cp. So heat capacity at constant volume we call it as Cv. Constant pressure we call it as Cp. Now we can write the equation. We already know the equation Q is equal to C delta T. Correct? So I can write Q at constant volume as QV, okay, which is equal to CV into delta T. And when the constant volume is there, heat will be QV will be equal to delta V. Correct? Yes, heat will be equal to delta V, which I already explained. Yes. Also, at constant pressure, Q, I'll write it as QP, which is equal to Cp into delta V, which is equal to enthalpy. I already explained enthalpy will be equal to the heat when the pressure is constant, and heat will be equal to the internal energy when volume is constant. We already have learned these two things. So, we are relating these two now. So, for 1 mole of an ideal gas, I can write enthalpy is equal to delta U plus delta PV. Okay. Or for ideal gas, we know PV is equal to RT. For 1 mole it is. So, PV is equal to RT. So, I can write the formula as delta H is equal to delta U plus delta RT. Delta R is a constant, so I take it outside. So delta H will be equal to delta U plus R delta V. So I can also get the formula as delta H is equal to delta U plus R delta V. Substituting the value of delta H and delta U. Here what is delta H? Delta H is Cp delta V. Okay, what is delta U? It is Cv delta V. So I have written Cp delta V and Cv delta V instead of delta H and delta U. Correct? Now delta T is all common, so it gets cancelled. So here I can take common outside and it will get cancelled. So I'll get the formula as Cp is equal to Cv plus R, or I can take Cv onto the other side and write Cp minus Cv is equal to R. Now this is the relationship between Cp and Cv for an ideal gas. See here, ideal gas only I have considered, so it is for the ideal gas. This is important for you to know the formula. Okay, so I hope you have understood about the relationship between Cp and Cv for the ideal gas. That is heat capacity at constant volume, heat capacity at constant pressure. Okay. So next class we'll be learning about the measurement of delta U and delta H, and also we'll start with thermochemistry. If possible, we'll also solve some of the numericals. So thank you my dear children. Stay tuned, stay focused.